There are a lot of podcasts out there, but only one with this kind of energy.
Welcome to EVP Show Recaps, Predictions, Sports. Let go, show recaps, predictions, sports.
In one podcast.
Welcome to EVP Show Recaps, Predictions, Sports. Let go.
What's going on, everybody? It's the EVP from the EVP Show. I'm sorry I am about 8 minutes late, but I am live for your SmackDown recap. Live May the 1st, 2026. So we are starting a new month. SmackDown was really good tonight. A little dumbfounded, I guess. I guess Randy's injury is a little bit more serious than I thought. We saw Gunther obviously insert himself from in a feud with Seth Rollins, and now he choked out Cody. So it looks like the direction they're headed now, instead of Gunther and Roman, is Gunther and Cody Rhodes. They had a good match at Crown Jewel, or was it Night of Champions or King of the Ring, Crown Jewel, one of those two. But I don't know. I don't think it happens at Backlash, but I don't know. We'll see. Probably like Saturday Night's Main Event or Italy or something like that. But we did get the Trick Williams or Sami Zayn made official for Backlash, and then also Kit Wilson and The Miz against Danhausen and a mystery partner. And then the first hour is going to be live on ESPN as well. So, yeah. So I'm really surprised they didn't do the 6-woman tag. With Fatal Influence and all them, I'm surprised they're doing that next week instead of putting it on Backlash. But I don't know. I guess it is what it is. I'm gonna go ahead and tweet that I'm live. I got started late. I was chucking some home runs. I just hit a pretty huge lotto that I'll be posting here in a little bit. One away on another one, and looking for a home run from someone else. So yeah, it's been a pretty good day. Good way to start the month off. SmackDown was pretty good though. I thought it was a lot better than normal. Still didn't see Blake on TV, but the Ricky Saints Cody match was really good. So go ahead and post it on live. Sorry, I'm running behind. Apologize. All right, we'll go ahead and get started. This is your SmackDown recap, live May 1st, 2026. So, as you know, SmackDown is going to go back to 2 hours, I believe, and I guess end of June, something like that, maybe 1st of July. Great, but so like a storyline, start Cody, Punk, yeah, something's missing. Yeah, like I said, looks like they pivoted and moved Gunther over there to feud with Cody. They don't really have anybody else right now. With Jacob wrapped up with Roman, so I mean, they haven't had Gunther lose a match since August. They booked him as a career killer, so obviously, I guess it's the favor from Paul Heyman. I wouldn't expect Gunther to lose to Cody, but you never know. So that's why I don't know when they're going to do the match, because I would expect Gunther to go over right there, especially if they moved him over there. But we don't know. Gunther's going to be on SmackDown next week to adjust why he choked Cody out. So I highly doubt that they make it for Backlash. I think the soonest that would happen would be a Saturday Night's Main Event. But I think that's more of a clash in Italy than a Saturday night main event. But let's go ahead and get started on this 3-hour show. A lot to cover. Tonight's WWE Smackdown is May 1st, 2026 from the BOK Center live in Tulsa, Oklahoma. Yeah, they could do a fatal 4-way for Cody's title. But Randy's hurt, so we're going to see the Queen, Charlotte Flair, take on one of the newest members that's caught up from the NXT last week. From Fatal Influence, JC Jane in a singles match. Thought that was incredible. Plus, former WWE NXT champion, the Absolute Ricky Saints, makes his SmackDown debut. We're also going to see for the WWE Tag Team Championships, Women's Tag Team Championship, Brie Bella and Paige will defend against the Irresistible Forces. Nia Jax and the Bougie Bully Lash Legend. We'll hear from Sami Zayn. Jacob Fatu will appear. Undisputed WWE Champion American Nightmare Cody Rhodes will kick off. And also the SmackDown Men's Tag Team Championships are on the line as Damian Priest and R-Truth are defending against Faxion. So just 1 second while I check this post. It was like somebody posted in there. Whoops. All right. So let's go ahead and get started. Thank you guys for the ones that showed up. If you are watching live on YouTube, please just hit that like button for me. That'll help out a lot. And we are live now on the DWE TV page, which was the basically was a Talk It Up Wrestling podcast. That still is the YouTube channel. It just changed the name over. So we're live on my YouTube, my X, and DWE TV now is the X page. So welcome everybody that's coming in. So yeah, a lot of matches took place tonight. I kind of went over that. So the show opened up with the video package looking at what transpired Monday night on Raw between Jacob Fatu and the WWE Raw Heavyweight Champion, Men's Heavyweight Champion, the OTC1 Roman Reigns. Joe Tessitore and Wade Barrett then welcome us to the show, and then we get the SmackDown Undisputed Heavyweight Champion of the World. Don't know why he's still coming out there. Obviously, I saw I don't know who reported it, but I saw somebody reported Cody pitched to Triple H to wear a mask. But Triple H said no, so I'm not quite sure. Look, his eye looked a lot better today. I got such a glare on my screen for some reason. I don't know why it's so bad today. The screen's really glary. Let's see if I cut that light off 1 second. That's gonna knock the glare. Still kind of glary, but not too bad. All right. Joe Tessitore and Wade Barrett welcome us to the show, and Cody, the SmackDown Men's Heavyweight Champion Cody Rhodes makes his way down to the ring. Obviously, pretty good ovation for Cody and Tulsa. I'm sure a lot of people know him there. He grabs the microphone and starts off by asking the fans what do they want to talk about. Cody then says it is nice when we can give some new information, and he has some. Obviously, he kind of waited a little while before he completely spilled it. Cody then says earlier tonight he met with the medical staff and Nick Aldis to find out if he's medically cleared for action. Cody then says he is cleared for action. Cody then says that begets the question, what's next for him on SmackDown? Without further ado, as soon as let me see if this light will work because it's still really dark in here. Just 1 second. No, that's right. That's not gonna work. So yeah, so Cody was wanting to know what was next for him, and then we heard the music of the absolute Ricky Saints making his main roster and SmackDown debut. He interrupts Cody. Ricky Saints grabs the mic and starts off by saying the fans boo what they don't understand. Ricky then says he is young, successful, rich, and suave. Ricky then says he and Cody aren't strangers to one another, but he knows that Cody feels the change in the air and that change is the revolution that he's leading. Ricky then says he is the man, and now you can start calling it Friday Night Saints. But Cody says he's happy to have Ricky Saints on SmackDown. Cody then asks Ricky what the difference is between the last time he stepped up to him and now. And Ricky says it's Cody's state of health. Says something about his eye, him being beat up like in his 2 weeks ago or whatever, WrestleMania. Ricky then reminds Cody that he is a former NXT champion and NXT North American champion. He is here to relieve Cody of his duties as the undisputed WWE champion. Cody then said Ricky pulled an easy thread and agrees to square off against Ricky in the ring tonight in Tulsa, Oklahoma. Both men shake hands, but Ricky says he didn't come to the ring to make a statement. Ricky then says he came to change what SmackDown is about. Cody then responds by telling Ricky he is easy to find, just like he said last week. He is easy to find and hard to beat. Drops the mic. So not in the main event, but I guess beginning the second hour, we got Ricky Saints going one-on-one in a non-title match with Cody Rhodes. So then the announcers really hype up everything from what happened with Fatal Influence, obviously, last week when they attacked Brie Bella and Paige, and then the matchup with Rhea Ripley and JC Jane. They're really talking JC up from last week's show. We then see Kathy Kelly. She's in the back with Charlotte Flair and Alexa Bliss. Kathy asks Charlotte about her match and the numbers advantage. Rhea Ripley shows up and says she can answer that. Rhea then says she tried to take on Fatal Influence alone and she got ambushed. Rhea then says she will put her issues aside. Alexa then says she appreciates it, but Charlotte says they might have teamed before, but not again. Sorry, I took the comments off. No gingerbread background. Missed opportunity. Yeah, I know. I was running late, Stampede. I'm glad you're here, though, so you can help me rank some of these matches. I know last time you had come in, you had moved JC Jane up. I was talking about, looks like WWE pivoted from Cody Randy by moving Gunther over to SmackDown. I can't, I'm a Cody fan, but I don't really have a problem with Cody dropping the title to Gunther. I really can't see them having him take a loss. He hasn't been pinned or beaten since August. So, and that was about CM Punk. I mean, he's obviously retired Styles and Cena and beat Rollins at WrestleMania. So I have a hard time believing that Cody would beat him again. I mean, he may beat him like on down the road to get it back, but I think that Gunther's going to take the title off of Cody at some point. So it's like a pivot move due to maybe Randy's injury or something. I don't know. We'll see. I don't think the match happens until hopefully it's not a Saturday night main event match. Hopefully they can, I mean, it'll still be 3 weeks, but maybe they can build a feud. Maybe they'll push it off until Italy. I wouldn't really think that's going to be a Saturday. If it's not a Saturday night main event, be a little bit concerned about if the title's going to change hands, but we'll see. Gunther is going to be on SmackDown next week. Obviously, the 6-man tag, the 6-woman tag that everybody was, and myself included, was thinking was going to be a part of Backlash. Rhea Ripley, Alexa, and Charlotte against Fatal Influence is going to be on SmackDown, on the Go Home SmackDown next week. So they did add 2 more matches to Backlash on top of Brian Breakker, Seth Rollins, Roman Reigns, Jacob Fatu, and what's the 3rd match from Raw? Io Sky and Asuka. And then the 4th match, we're going to get Trick Williams defending the title against Sami Zayn. And then The Miz and Kit Wilson against Danhausen and a mystery opponent, which people are speculating could be Jelly Roll. There should be 1 more match announced. Like I said, my prediction shows Wednesday at 7 p.m. So I don't know. We're gonna have 4 matches, and I guess predict like the mystery. I don't know. We won't know what the 6 matches unless they announce it on Raw. That's the only thing that sucks about doing prediction shows is that if you don't have the full card, then you really can't predict the whole show. But we'll do our best this Wednesday night. We have at least 4 matches and then a quarter of, like, 3/4 of a 5th match. So, but yeah. So Charlotte said she's reluctant to team Rhea. She says she teamed with her before, but not again. Rhea then points out the number situation. Alexa says she appreciates it, and Charlotte says she understands their alliance, but 3 is a crowd. Charlotte Flair and Alexa Bliss to make their way out to the ring for the first match of the night, followed by what I feel like is one of the best interests for in the ladies department is Fatal Influence, Josie Jane. Before she even gets to the ring, she has a microphone. She cuts a promo. She says she has something to say, and she expected that reaction in Tulsa, Oklahoma. Doing a prediction show for a promotion with no coherent on-concrete plan can be difficult. Yeah, it's going to be tough, but we have 4 matches at least and a partial of a 5th, so we'll do the best we can do. Probably won't be a super long one because obviously, like I said, we only have Raw before the prediction show, and I guess they're going to maybe announce the 6th match on SmackDown, which I hate when they do that crap the day before the PLE, or it may just be 5 matches. I don't know. We'll see. I feel like they would have announced it. Tiffany Stratton's obviously defending against Kiana James next week, so that's not going to happen at Backlash. So I don't know what else they could do at Backlash. Honestly, I don't. Maybe it's just 5 matches, but we'll see. We'll still have fun with it Wednesday, and we'll see how it goes. Still full panel, so. But JC cuts a promo. She says she has something to say. She expected that reaction. JC then says, "You got a little taste of what they are going to bring to SmackDown," and that she is getting booed just like she was last week. JC Jane up to 34, getting in some serious company when you're up that high. I love what you're saying. I agree. Like I said, I mean, 2 weeks in a row, like she commands the fans, like, you know. Not saying I wouldn't put her in my top 10 like women's like wrestler. Probably she's not bad at all. Obviously there's probably 10 or 15 out there that's probably better in the ring, but she's so good at like getting the crowd involved. And she has a lot of heel heat on her. She knows how to be a good heel. And that's part of the wrestling business is to get that interaction from the crowd. I mean, she's already better than probably 60 to 70% of that roster after 2 weeks. You can tell WWE is very high on her already after 2 weeks on how she'd been booked. She didn't get pinned by Rhea, and then obviously she pinned a multi-time champion tonight in Charlotte Flair. So Yeah, JC's moving on up there. She is definitely a future women's champion. I'm not gonna say like in the next 3 months, but you never know. JC then says someone couldn't get enough, and she loves that. JC then says she thrives off of it. JC then says if there's anything they like to do, it is to embarrass a legend. JC then says they're going to take out your precious little legends one at a time. JC then says, who better to start with than Charlotte Flair? So we get the Queen, Charlotte Flair versus Fatal Influence's JC Jane as the first match of the night. So the match starts off with both women locking up. They go into the corner. Charlotte then gets a clean break. JC hits a knee, but Charlotte sends JC into the corner. Charlotte then hits some chops to the chest, followed by a headlock. JC then sends Charlotte to the ropes, but Charlotte hits a shoulder tackle. Charlotte Flair then goes to the ropes, but JC hits a right hand. JC then hits a Hurricane Rana. JC then grabs Charlotte, but Flair hits a right hand. Flair then trips JC down. She goes for the figure four, but JC kicks her away. Like I said, if you guys are watching live on YouTube, please hit that like button. I haven't even checked to see what I got on TNA last night. Like I said, I've been really busy today. I just got to Louisiana, so yeah, yesterday, so been busy. JC rolls to the outside of the ring, but she realizes she's on the same side of the ring as Alexa. And like I said, JC phenomenal. She turned around, saw Alexa, and just acted like she was just scared to death of Alexa, which was just funny. Charlotte Flair then holds the ropes open for JC to return, obviously mocking her. Once JC's back in the ring, Charlotte sends in a waist lock, and she delivered an elbow. Charlotte then hits a kick, but Laney Reed distracts Charlotte Flair, and JC delivered a thrust kick and sends Flair into the ropes. JC then hits several punches and a cannonball for a near fall. JC then works on the neck, and the Charlotte Flair fires back with punches. JC hits a knee, and she sends it in a reverse chin lock. Charlotte then floats over on an Irish whip, but JC hits a back elbow for a count of 2. JC then chokes Flair in the ropes. JC then hits a kick to the back, and she sends it back in that rear chin lock. JC then gets on Flair's back, but Flair sends JC into the turnbuckle to try to escape. JC then hits a punch. JC then goes for a hip attack, but Charlotte Flair catches JC, and she hits a belly-to-back suplex. Flair then hits several forearms and chops. Flair then hits a walkover clothesline. JC then hits an Irish whip. Flair hits the Flair flip and a boot. Charlotte Flair then goes up top, and she hits a crossbody, but JC rolls through for the pinfall attempt for only a count of 2. Charlotte Flair then hits a running boot, and she sets up for the moonsault, and she hits the moonsault, but JC Jane kicks out at 2. JC then clips Charlotte Flair and hits a running knee and goes for a pin. Still only 2. Charlotte delivers a thrust kick, and she applies the figure 4 leg lock. She bridges it into the figure 8, but Fallon Henley grabs Charlotte Flair's arm, pulls her out of the ring, and then Alexa Bliss comes from on the other side of the ring and delivers a punch to Fallon, but then Laney Reed delivers a high knee and knocks Alexa Bliss to the ground. Charlotte Flair then hits a boot to Laney Reed on the apron, but then she's distracted, and JC Jane delivers the rolling encore to Charlotte Flair for the 1, 2, 3. So on her second match on the main roster, JC Jane defeats, I believe it's either a 13 or 14-time women's heavyweight champion in Charlotte Flair. JC, you could tell the reaction on her face. She was really excited to get that win. After the match, JC tells Fallon and Laney to go after Flair. Alexa then tries to come in and make the save, but Fallon kicks Alexa to the floor. She then sends Alexa into the ring steps, but out comes Rhea Ripley. She delivers a thrust kick to Fallon on the floor. She then kicks Laney Reed and sets up for a riptide on JC Jane, but JC slides over the top. Like I said, they're booking JC super strong. She hasn't even eaten a riptide yet. JC escapes and pushes Rhea towards Charlotte Flair, but Rhea stops right in front. So maybe there's a tease or something for something coming up with Rhea and Charlotte. So yeah, very good match. Josie Jane earns her first main roster win over the Queen, Charlotte Flair. So we go backstage. We see Paige and Brie Bella in the locker room, and Byron Saxton asks for their thoughts on the attack last week and what they just saw. Brie says they are impressed and that Fatal Influence are making a name for themselves. Brie then says their actions will catch up to them, though. Paige then says karma is real and they will deal with them in the future. So, like I said, we could see Elaine Reed and Fallon Henley going up against Paige and Brie Bella, or Nikki and Brie when Nikki gets back. But they have to worry about their tag team title match tonight against Irresistible Forces. Byron then asks how they retain the title. Brie then says with their experience, they have the advantage. And then Paige asked Byron Saxton if he missed her. And Brie said, yes, everybody has. So then we see R-Truth with Axiom and Nathan Frazier, and he tells Damian Priest he is talking to Los Americanos. Damian Priest is just full of it. Priest says they deserve a title match, and he looked forward to defending against them tonight. Axiom then says they weren't talking about a match, and Frazier says they will talk to Nick. R-Truth then says he was talking to them about taxes, and Priest is more confused. R-Truth said he shouldn't be handing out title matches to everyone. What's going on, Kyle? Newest member of WWE. Welcome. Paige and Brie should lose champions to Fatal Influence. I agree. We talked about this after I called you that night after JC was on SmackDown the first night. I love what they're doing with JC right now. And Fatal Influence, they're really getting booed by the crowd. JC's getting booked really strong. You know, she hasn't eaten a riptide yet. She had a no contest for Rhea. And then obviously, she pinned a 13 or 14 time women's champion Charlotte Flair tonight. I don't think Paige and Brie are going to drop the titles, though, unfortunately. At least until Nikki gets back. So, but I definitely agree with you. I wouldn't mind it. But I don't think it's going to happen, though. So, yeah. I'm really surprised. Like I said, the 6-woman tag is not going to be on Backlash. They're going to do it next week. So, but. All right, so we see Kit Wilson and The Miz talking about capturing Danhausen, and they said they will blind him and stop him. Like I said, if you guys are watching live on YouTube, please hit that like button on the stream. That will help me out a lot. Thank you guys so much, and thank you to the 65 people that we have in here watching right now. Just keep presenting Fatal Influence strong. Get them in the ring consistently. They don't need the title draw. Yeah, I agree. I don't think JC's going to win the world title right away anyway. But I think she is a future women's champion, though, 100%. Maybe in the next 12 to 18 months for sure. We see Kit Wilson and The Miz talking about capturing Danhausen. They say they will blind him and stop him. Danhausen then sees the briefcase with the money, and he takes $40,000 from the case and walks away. Kit then says it should have worked, and Miz opens the case, and it sprays Miz and Kit. Another funny segment from Danhausen. Obviously, Miz and Kit Wilson are going to face Danhausen and a mystery partner at Backlash. So. And the first hour is going to be live. I guess they're going to continue that trend from now on with the first hour being on ESPN. R-Truth and Damian Priest then make their way down to the ring for the next match of the night. And Nathan Frazier and Axiom follow. It's going to be the WWE Tag Team Championship match. The men's R-Truth and Damian Priest defending against Fraxiom, Nathan Frazier, and Axiom. So the match starts off with Axiom and R-Truth. Both men lock up. R-Truth then backs Axiom into the corner, and he gives a clean break, and he applies a side headlock. R-Truth then hits a shoulder tackle, and he does some dancing. R-Truth then misses a clothesline, but Axiom hits an arm drag. Nathan Frazier then tags in, and then Damian Priest tags in. Priest sends Axiom into the corner, but Frazier escapes, and he applies a side headlock. Frazier then hits an enziguri, and he tags in Axiom. To me, the best tag team in WWE is Axiom. Priest then hits a forearm, and Axiom leaps over Priest. Priest then begins to box the ears, and he follows it up with a forearm. Axiom then counters a Razor's Edge into a Hurricane Rana. Axiom and Frazier then hit a double dropkick to send R-Truth to the floor. Damian Priest and R-Truth then move out of the way, and Nathan Frazier and Axiom do not hit dives to the floor. Priest then returns to the ring, and he kicks Axiom and tosses him into the corner. Priest then hits a forearm, and R-Truth tags in. R-Truth then hits a corkscrew flying forearm, while Priest hits a side Russian leg sweep. R-Truth goes for the pinfall, but gets a count of 2. Axiom then escapes a suplex, and Nathan Frazier tags in. Axiom then sends Frazier towards Truth for a DDT, and he gets a near fall. Axiom then tags in, and he kicks R-Truth. Axiom then hits a forearm, and R-Truth punches back. Axiom then hits a dropkick and goes for the pin, but gets a count of 2, but then cinches in a sleeper. Frazier tags in, they hit a stereo, and they deliver stereo kicks for a count of 2. Axiom back in, he goes up top, and he leaps over Truth. R-Truth delivers a kick and a cutter out of the suplex setup. Damian Priest and Frazier then tag in, and Priest hits several punches and a double back body drop. Priest fraction coming up on 1 year since their last win on either SmackDown or Raw. May 16, 2025 since their last win. That's crazy. Yeah, like 15 days from 15 days away from a year. That's insane. They're way too good. So Priest hits a cyclone kick to Axiom and a package flatliner to Frazier. Priest then hits a rebound clothesline to Axiom, and he goes for South to Heaven, but Frazier lands on his feet and kicks Priest. R-Truth then tags in. He hits the 2 flying shoulder tackles and the Blue Thunder Bomb. R-Truth then sets up for John Cena's 5-knuckle shovel, and he hits it. Axiom then pulls Priest off the apron, and Nathan Frazier gets a roll-up on Truth. But when he looks at what happened on the floor, but then R-Truth is sent to the floor, and Frazier runs across from the side of the ring and hits a suicide dive over the top rope onto R-Truth, and Axiom hits a dive onto Damian Priest. Frazier then hits a flip dive to R-Truth and Priest, followed by a moonsault off the ring post. So a lot of high octane jumping over the top rope from Axiom, as always. Axiom then hits a missile dropkick while Frazier hits the leg sweep, but Priest breaks up the cover by pushing one into the other and knocking them because they were about to pin R-Truth and win the titles. So then Damian Priest drags R-Truth all the way back to the corner and makes the tag. Obviously, the straps come down. Damian Priest is pissed off. Priest pulls Truth in the corner. Priest then sends Axiom to the floor. Priest then hits the South to Heaven to Frazier, and then goes up for a super thunderous Razor's Edge on Axiom for the 1, 2, 3. And still your WWE SmackDown Men's Tag Team Champions, Damian Priest and R-Truth. But after the match, we didn't see him last week. Hikuleo, otherwise known as Tala Tonga, attacks R-Truth and Damian Priest from behind. He then sends R-Truth into a chair in the corner. Tala Tonga then hits a double choke slam to Axiom and Frazier. Tala Tonga then hits a choke slam to Priest, and him and Solo Sikoa enter the ring. So Tala Tonga come in there and cleaned house. The ring is cleared except for Tala Tonga and Solo. Solo grabs the mic and starts off by saying, last week, Jacob Fatu made a big mistake. We didn't see what happened last week. Obviously, it was Jacob beating Solo Sikoa and then taking out the MFT by himself. Sullivan says, even though Jacob took out his army, he took out his family. Sullivan says, Tallah's family is his family. Sullivan says, Jacob's brothers are his brothers. Sullivan says, Tallah's blood is his blood. Sullivan says, they are not standing here because of you. Sullivan says, when you get to this building, you are a dead man walking. And then we hear the music of the Usos. I'm going to move over here because I got to charge my phone. I don't know why that glare is like so bad. I hate that. It's terrible glare. It wasn't like that last night. Maybe that's a little better. All right, so Solo says that when Jacob gets there, he's going to be a dead man walking. And then we get the Usos music hit, Jay and Jimmy Uso. They make their way down to the ring. Jimmy says that the Usos are now in your city. He then says they get it and they understand you have an issue with Jacob. So I'm having like kind of lean over because I'm having to charge my phone. Phone's like been going crazy. He then says they get it. They understand you have an issue with Jacob. He then says you got to understand you aren't the only one with issues. He then says Roman has a big problem with Jacob too. He then says the mistake wasn't when Jacob took out your guys, your little, what do you call it? Your little tree, family tree or whatever. He then says it was the mistake Jacob made was when he put his hands on the OTC and the tribal chief Roman Reigns. Jay then says not only did he put his hands on Roman, he used the Tongan death grip, which is something that's very sacred. He then says it's handed down and your dad used it, Tallah. He then says that as a move of last resort. Haku used to use that move. He then says whatever plans you have with Jacob has to hold up until Roman Reigns is done with him. Solo then grabs the mic and says there is plenty of Jacob to go around. Jay then says they are not asking you, they are telling you. Solo then laughs and says he doesn't have time for this. Solo then says they should go, and he gives a nod to Tala Tonga, and Tala Tonga then kicks Jay Uso, super kicks, and then choke slams Jimmy Uso. Solo then tells Jimmy and Jay that Roman isn't his tribal chief, and they don't give a damn. He says whether Roman likes it or not, Jacob, when he shows up, is a dead man walking. So Tala Tonga clean house of everybody tonight. So another tease like they did last week with Cody Rhodes and Sami Zayn. We see Cody Rhodes walking in the back and Sami Zayn stops him to ask him if he called him condescending and sarcastic. He then says it wasn't a mistake to be called the Golden Boy. So we had another Golden Boy reference. He then asked if he is angry. He got to wear a gold cape and a gold crown. He then says they have to stick together. He says it's a good thing to be the Golden Boy. Cody's really running with this Golden Boy thing. He then says they're the last of a dying breed. He then says they're the last real good guys. He then says they're friends. He then says they are the same. Cody says there is a lot of truth there, but they are not the same. And Cody Rhodes walks away. So they're definitely teasing something up with Cody and Sami on down the road. So I guess this was the start of the second hour. The Absolute Ricky Saints makes his main roster and SmackDown debut. As he makes his way down to the ring as he goes one-on-one with the American Nightmare, the undisputed champion, SmackDown Heavyweight Champion, Cody Rhodes. So the match starts off with Cody Rhodes offering his hand. Ricky shakes it, but Ricky applies a side headlock, and he hits a shoulder tackle. This was a really good match. Ricky Saints looked really good tonight. Cody still looks really beat up. Ricky then hit another shoulder tackle. Ricky then blocks a hip toss, and he hits a few arm drag. Cody then hits a knee, and he goes for a delayed gourd buster, but Ricky gets to his feet. Cody then hits an Irish whip, and Ricky goes to the apron. Cody then hits a forearm to send Ricky to the floor. Ricky then swings in the ropes and kicks Cody. Ricky then clotheslines Cody over the top rope and to the floor. Cody then gets back in the ring, and they lock up. Cody then cinches in a side headlock, and he gets a takedown. Ricky then hits a head scissors. Cody escapes, but Ricky hits a back elbow and several elbows to the back of Cody's neck. Ricky sends Cody into the turnbuckles, and he kicks and punches Cody. Cody then hits a kick and a drop down uppercut. Ricky then hits a clothesline and goes for the pinfall, but Cody kicks out at 2. Ricky then hits an elbow into the corner, followed by a snap mare and a knee drop for a count of 2. Ricky then cinches in a chin bar. Ricky then hits an elbow, and he sends Cody back to the mat. Ricky and Cody then exchange chops. Ricky then hits a kick and a sliding kick for a count of 2. Ricky returns to the neck of Cody. Cody then hits a running forearm, and Ricky fires back with a forearm of his own, and Ricky then hits a neck breaker and a knee drop for a count of 2. So most of the offense in this match was by Ricky Saints, so he definitely looked good on his main roster debut. Ricky then chokes Cody in the ropes. Ricky then sends the damaged eye of Cody across the top rope. Ricky then goes to the ropes for the old school, walking across the rope, and he poses and hits and falls down and hits the forearm. Cody then reverses the move into a quick type of body slam, similar to what Randy Orton does a lot. Cody then hits the disaster kick and a Cody cutter. Cody then sets Ricky up, but Ricky hits a reverse swinging neck breaker for a count of 2. Ricky then hits a sunset flip for a count of 2. Cody then gets a roll up for a near fall. Ricky Saints then hits a tornado DDT and goes for the pin, but Cody kicks out at 2. Ricky then sets up for Roshambo, but Cody counters into a crossroads for the 1, 2, 3. And it looked like Ricky landed a little funny on that crossroad. They should point Ricky in the direction of Punk. They have some unfinished business from a promotion that won't be mentioned. Yeah, 8 from AEW. So what's your thoughts on the Gunther? Obviously, Stampede, 100% was a pivot. We haven't seen Brandy back on TV. He must be hurt. Obviously, we saw Paul Heyman in the background when R-Truth and him was talking. He was talking to Nick Aldis. So obviously, that's what Gunther's going to come out and say next week. That was the favor that he got from Paul Heyman is maybe a championship match. Gunther hasn't lost a match since August. I don't know what the plans are now, like I said, because Gunther was originally supposed to be part of one of the title defenses for Roman, but if Randy's going to be out a while, it looks like they pivoted to Gunther. So, if anybody has any thoughts on what happened after the match, because that was very out of nowhere. But yeah, great job by Ricky Saints on his debut tonight on the main roster. He controlled most of the match. So the winner of the non-title match, Undisputed WWE Champion, the American Nightmare, Cody Rhodes. But after the match, Gunther comes up behind Cody and applies a sleeper, and he did not have the sleeper on very long. Cody just passed out. Gunther then releases the hold and reapplies it. Gunther then adjusts the title belt, and he picks it up, and he holds up the Undisputed Championship in the air, and he throws the title. Gunther then leaves the ring and heads to the back. Gunther has a sight set on Cody Rhodes and the Undisputed WWE Championship. If they allow Gunther and Cody to do what they're capable of, it'll deliver where they can both work a match style that's not the WWE style. I think it'll be a great match. I do. I think it is going to be a banger match. I don't think they need to rush it. I don't think it needs to happen at Backlash. I don't. I don't think it needs to happen at Saturday night's main event. I mean, there's 3 PLEs this month. I think they could push it off because, well, I don't know the date for the Clash in Italy, but I mean, it's less than a month away. So, like, they have 3+ weeks to tell the story and do it in Italy. I mean, I guess if they really wanted to really work the story, they could push it off until Saudi and do it at Night of Champions. But I don't think they're gonna be able to push it off that long. I think it probably happens in Italy. I'm hoping it's not a Saturday night main event match though. But yeah, I think it's gonna be a good match. So, but I can't see WWE having booking Gunther to lose though. That's the thing, because like I said, he's been on this career killer streak, and he just beat Seth at WrestleMania. Cody's banged up, so I mean, I don't know if anybody's gonna interfere and help Gunther, but I mean, for me, it looks like Brock is really retired. I don't know. I don't see how any other way it could play out besides Gunther winning. I don't know. Unless Randy comes out and like screws Cody. And that could happen. That's a possibility too. Danhausen makes his way down to the ring in his vehicle and he says he has something to say. Danhausen then introduces himself and says he found $400 and he bought some merchandise for the fans. The Miz then comes out and interrupts, and he makes his way down to the ring. Miz then says, ever since Danhausen came here, bad things have happened to him. Miz then says Danhausen ruined the renewal of his vows with his wife Maurice. His daughter's bike was stolen, and he was blown up. Miz then says he realizes he is cursed. Miz then says he will do the thing he never thought he would do. Miz then says he will be Danhausen's mentor. They are about to shake hands, but out comes Kit Wilson. Kit then asks Miz if he lost his ever-loving mind. Kit then says Miz was mentoring him. Kit then says, now you enable this toxic little goblin. Miz then says that is enough, and Kit tells Miz to wake the hell up. Miz then says Danhausen has mastered the curse. Miz then says he has been able to zone in into what it takes to be a superstar. Miz then says you can say the same, Kit. Miz then says you want to be my mentee? Miz then says you aren't even in the same league. Kit then stops the handshake again, and Kit asks to give them a chance. Kit then says he has written a poem. Kit then says he wants Miz to shake his hand. Danhausen then says he wants Miz to shake his hand. Miz then eventually shakes Danhausen's hand, but Miz then says there is one thing left to do. Danhausen is about to curse Kit, but Miz hits Danhausen from behind. Kit and Miz then attack Danhausen. Miz then delivers a skull-crushing finale. Kit Wilson then goes up top and he hits a elbow drop off the top rope. So that match is also official for Backlash, along with Trick Williams defending against the U.S. title against Sami Zayn. The Miz and Kit Wilson will be facing Danhausen and a mystery partner, which I'm assuming is going to be Jelly Roll, or I don't know. I don't know who else it could be. Unless it's Royce Keys. I don't know. We'll see. We then head to the back and we see Royce Keys warming up. We then get a Blake Monroe video package. Now, the way they were talking last week, I thought she was supposed to show up tonight, but she didn't. Blake is in her bathtub and she says nothing burns brighter than her. So I don't know, maybe she shows up next week. She said Friday nights are about to get a lot more glamorous. So then Angel and Berto then make their way down to the ring for the next match of the night, followed by Royce Keys. So it's going to be Royce Keys versus Los Garza's Angel, which this was definitely a squash match. The match starts off Angel tossing his pants at Royce Keys to distract him, but Royce Keys recovers and forces Angel to the floor. Berto then distracts Keys, and Angel misses. Keys then hits a clothesline. Keys then hits a splash into the corner, and he knocks Berto off the apron. Keys then catches Angel off the turnbuckles, and he puts him on the turnbuckles. Keys then hits a twisted power slam off the turnbuckles. Keys then hits a spine buster for the 1, 2, 3. So Royce Keys made very short work of Los Garza's Angel. The winner of the singles match was Royce Keys. So then we see Kathy Kelly in the back with the newly crowned Women's United States Champion, Tiffany Stratton, and she asked what is next. Tiffany said people should be coming to her with opportunities. She then says the title should be defended more often, and I agree with Tiffany on that. We need to make this United States title like the Women's Intercontinental Championship, except we don't need to, everybody doesn't need to do open challenges. But then Chelsea Green obviously walks up, and she stands up. She says, surprise, I am walking again. She says she had planned a birthday surprise, but Nick Aldis ruined her birthday celebration, and they will get martinis after the show. Chelsea then says they can talk about her becoming champion again. So then Kiana James and Julia then show up, and she says Tiffany won't be champion long. Kiana then says she will get Julia her title rematch. Tiffany then says she is looking forward to defending the title next week. She then says it won't be against Julia, but it will be against you, and she pointed at Kiana James. So like I said, next week, we're going to get Rhea Ripley, Charlotte Flair, and Alexa Bliss going up against Josie Jane, Fallon Henley, and Laney Reed. We're going to see Tiffany Stratton defending the United States title against Kiana James. And then obviously something with the Gingerbread Man. And Gunther is going to be on SmackDown to explain why he did what he did to Cody Rhodes. We then see Royce Keys on the phone, and he says he will call them back. Jacob Fatu then shows up. He congratulates Royce. Royce then says he has known Fatu for 14 or 15 years, and he is the same guy. He then talked about his old car and going to Vegas for shows and getting back to the warehouse. He then said Roman is back on top, and he is taking everything. Royce then tells Fatu to werewolf up and make sure Roman doesn't take food from his table. He then says he hopes WWE hasn't taken the smell of the street from him. And then from behind, Tala Tonga, which has been attacking people all night, attacks Royce Keys, and Fatu goes after Tala Tonga. Tala Tonga then chokeslams Jacob Fatu through a table. Tala Tonga completely destroyed everybody tonight. So then this is what Stampede was talking about at the beginning. The Gingerbread Man suit is in the ring. Sami Zayn's music hits, and he makes his way down to the ring. Sami asks the fans if they're having fun. Sami says he is being honest. Sami then says he loves coming to Tulsa. Sami then says he had a beautiful morning. Sami then says he went to the Bob Dylan Center. Sami then says Bob was a legend of folk music until he picked up an electric guitar. Sami then says they turned on him and they booed him. Sami then says he can relate to that. Sami then says he doesn't know what he did to get to some of the reaction he has been getting. Sami then says it doesn't bother him though. Sami then says he knows his Ride or Die fan club is in the house tonight. Sami then says there are millions more watching at home, and they will have his back. Sami says he can deal with some bad reactions. Sami then says he cannot deal with disrespect. Sami Zayn then says the fact that someone like Trick Williams. Sami then says Trick and the Gingerbread Man is fun. Sami then says that is a shell of a man wearing a costume, and that is what Trick is. Sami then says it is easy to do what Trick does. Sami then says get great music, a great entrance, dance moves, and a catchphrase. Sami then says that is easy. Sami then says what he does is hard. Sami then says when he looks at this, it is funny, but that isn't what he sees. Sami Zayn has completely ginger snapped. Sami then says he sees Trick not taking him seriously. Sami then says this is disrespect. Sami then says when he looks at this costume, he wants to. Sami then balls up a fist and he stops. Sami then says he is losing his marbles because he is going to hit a gingerbread man in Tulsa. Sami then shakes its hand and kicks the gingerbread man in between the legs. Sami then delivers an elbow drop and several punches. Sami then rips off the gingerbread man's arm. And then out comes the United States champion Trick Williams. His music hits, and he makes his way down to the ring, and he punches Sami, hits an uppercut. Trick Williams then sets up for the trick shot, but Sami goes to the floor and into the crowd. Trick then laments the status of the costume and throws up the X. It's like Brock did. So the gingerbread man is dead. So that match is official for Backlash. Trick Williams will defend the United States title against Sami Zayn. We then see Byron Saxton with Nia Jax and Lash Legend and ask about Brie Bella and Paige's comments. Nia points out that they didn't get pinned. Lashley says they prepared for the Bellas, not Paige. She then says it will be a different story tonight. Nia then says things will work out because there's only 2 teams. She then says they will regain the titles and Brie and Paige will go back to the couch with Nikki. We then see Kathy Kelly in the trainer's room and she says she is waiting for comments from Trick Williams. Trick then says Sami crossed the line. He then says last week Sami took out Lil Yachty. Trick then says tonight Sami took out the gingerbread man. Trick then says you messed with his money and no one does that. Trick then says he does not play around with his money. Trick then says the gingerbread man will be okay. Trick then says he has a match at Backlash. Trick then says he gets what he wants. So like I said, Trick will defend the United States title against Sami Zayn at Backlash. So then we go to our next matchup of the night. It's for the WWE Women's Tag Team Championships. Brie Bella and Paige make their way down to the ring, and they will be defending the titles against Nia Jax and the Bougie Bully Lash Legend, the Irresistible Forces. The match starts off with Paige and Lash, and they lock up. Lash gets a takedown. Paige then hits several kicks, and Nia distracts Paige. Lash then delivers a clothesline. Lash then hits a splash for a near fall. Nia then tags in, and she headbutts Paige. Nia then goes for a slam, but Paige escapes, and she clips Nia Jax. Paige then hits a jawbreaker, and Brie tags in, and she hits a missile drop kick. Brie then hits several knees and a leg sweep. Brie then hits a Brie mode knee against the ropes, and then kicks Lash off the apron, but Nia gets Brie up. Brie then gets to the apron, and she punches Nia. Lash then grabs Brie's leg, and Nia knocks Brie off the apron into the floor. Lash then sends Brie into the apron. They then return to the ring. Lash then slams Brie's arm into the mat. Lash then puts Brie's head between the top and the middle rope, and she swings it back and forth. She then does it again. Lash then hits a standing power slam, but Paige occupies the referee, so Lash gets a count of 2. Lash then goes for another pinfall, but only gets 2. Nia tags in. She chokes Brie in the ropes while sitting on her back. Nia misses a splash in the corner, and then she hits the turnbuckles. Nia sends Brie into the turnbuckles, and Lash tags in, and Lash delivers several shoulders. Nia tags back in. She hits several shoulders in the corner. Another hot tag back into Lash, and she tags Nia right back in. Nia slams Brie's head into the mat. Nia then misses a shoulder in the corner, and she hits the ring post. Lash then swings at Paige, but misses. Lash then grabs Brie and stops her from making the tag. Brie then punches Lash, and she hits a Hurricane Rana, and gets a hot tag into Paige. Paige comes storming in with several forearms and a flying kick. Lash then sends Paige to the apron, and Paige hits several knees to Lash Legend. Paige then goes up top, and she hits a crossbody, but Lash catches Paige. Paige then gets to her feet, and Bree tags in. Paige then hits the Page Turner, and Bree hits an X Factor for only a count of 2. Nia then sends Paige to the floor. Nia then tags in, and she hits a splash into the corner. Paige then kicks Nia's leg when Nia goes for the Annihilator. Brie Bella then gets a roll up for the 1, 2, 3. So the winners are still the WWE Women's Tag Team Champion, WWE Hall of Famer Brie Bella and Paige. So it is then announced that next week Gunther will be on SmackDown to address why he came up and choked out Cody Rhodes. Tiffany Stratton will defend the Women's United States title against Kiana James. Rhea Ripley, Charlotte Flair, and Alexa Bliss will take on JC James, Fallon Henley, and Laney Reed. And there will be a funeral for the Gingerbread Man. We then see Sami Zayn in the back, and he asks Nick Aldis if this is a joke. Nick says he knows Sami is angry, and he asks for a modicum of respect because people are grieving. Sami then says to make the match official. Nick then agrees to make the match official for Backlash, Sami Zayn versus Trick Williams. Sami then walks away. Danhausen shows up. Danhausen asks Nick if he saw what happened, and he demands a match with The Miz. Nick then says he can put Danhausen in a match with Miz and Kit if he can find a tag partner. Danhausen then agrees and walks away. Who will be Danhausen's tag team partner at Backlash? So this is the main event. The Usos make their way down to the ring for the main event, followed by the MFTs, Tala Tonga and Solo Sikoa. The match starts off with Tala Tonga and Jey Uso, and Jey hits several right hands and a super kick, but Tala responds with a clothesline. Tala then hits an elbow drop. Solo is then tagged in. He headbutts Jey. Solo then hits a right hand, but Jey hits a kick to the side of the head. Jimmy is then tagged in, and they double team Solo. Jimmy then climbs to the second rope and jumps, but Solo catches him and hits him with a spinning Solo slam. Solo then hits a running hip attack. Solo then hits a right hand onto Jimmy. Tala is then tagged in, and Tala hits a leg drop. He then goes for a cover, but Jimmy kicks out. Tala then hits a right hand onto Jey, and Jey falls off the ring apron. Solo is then tagged in. Tala Tonga then grabs Jimmy, but Jimmy hits an elbow to the face. Solo then runs toward Jimmy, but he moves out of the way, and Solo falls to the outside of the ring. Tala Tonga then goes for a splash onto Jimmy, but Jimmy moves out of the way. Jey is then tagged in. He hits a suicide dive onto Tala Tonga. Jey then climbs the top rope, and he hits a crossbody onto Solo Sikoa. He then goes for a cover, but Solo kicks out. Jey then hits several right hands and a super kick. Jey then goes to the ropes, and he hits a spear. He then goes for a cover, but Tala Tonga breaks it up. Jimmy then hits a super kick onto Tala. Jey then hits a super kick onto Tala Tonga, and the Usos hit a double super kick onto Tala Tonga. The Usos then clothesline Tala to the outside of the ring. Jimmy Uso then goes for a suicide dive, but Tala hits a right hand. Jey then jumps off onto Tala, but Tala grabs him and throws him into the barricade. Tala Tonga then throws Jimmy into the steel steps. Tala then clears the announce desk, but out comes the Samoan werewolf himself. Jacob Fatu jumps off the barricade onto Tala Tonga, and the referee calls for the bell. They were saying, "I love you, Solo." Remember that. Jacob Fatu wasn't feeling nostalgic. The winners of the tag team match are due to disqualification. The main event, Jey Uso and Jimmy Uso. After the match, Fatu sends Tala into the ring post and hits him with the ring steps. Fatu then goes into the ring with Solo, and Solo wants to know what he is doing. Solo then goes for the Samoan spike, but Fatu hits the Tongan death grip first. Tala then catches Fatu on a suicide dive, and he tries to chokeslam Fatu through the table, but Jacob Fatu hits the Tongan death grip and a Samoan drop through the table. Fatu then starts to dance. Jimmy and Jay are now in the ring, and Fatu gets on the apron. Fatu then enters the ring. Fatu starts dancing. He then walks right through Jimmy and Jay and leaves the ring. Jacob Fatu then tells Jimmy and Jay to tell Roman that he is going to dog walk his ass at Backlash as the show comes to a close. So that is it, guys, for the 3-hour SmackDown. Like I said, pretty decent show. Some kind of off the wall moments, obviously, but definitely some unexpected stuff. Obviously, with the Gunther and Cody Rhodes stuff, definitely wasn't expecting that. I guess Randy is out. It's going to be out for a while. We'll see. I like the stuff they're doing with Fatal Influence. Obviously, Royce Keys was impressive tonight. Ricky Stanks looked really good. So pretty good SmackDown. I'm going to be generous and give it probably like a B minus. I'm not going to go any farther than that. But it's definitely getting better. But shouts out to everybody that tuned in tonight. So we're going to go through, and we have Peter. Thanks for coming in, Stampede. I did talk to Miami today about the AEW stuff, so I will try to set up a call with you at some point tomorrow. So shout out to Stampede. I will see you Wednesday for sure for the prediction show at 7 p.m. Eastern. Shout out to the newest member of DWE, Kyle Anthony. Good to see you. And Stampede. And like I said, make sure if you guys are watching live on YouTube, make sure you hit that like button. And if you guys are already subscribed to me, make sure to turn on the notification bell so you know when I go live. But this has been your Friday Night SmackDown recap show, May the 1st, 2026. I'm going to go ahead and go to the outro, and I will be back to well, let me go ahead and tell you what we're going to have again. Or I'll go through and run through the Backlash card real quick. Roman Reigns versus Jacob Fatu. On the Raw side, we got Roman Reigns versus Jacob Fatu, Io Sky versus Asuka, and Braun Breaker one-on-one versus Seth Rollins. On the SmackDown side, Trick Williams defends the United States title against Sami Zayn, and The Miz and Kit Wilson versus Danhausen and a mystery opponent. So far, next week on SmackDown, we're going to have a funeral for the Gingerbread Man, Rhea Ripley, Alexa Bliss and Charlotte Flair take on JC Jane, Fallon Henley, and Laney Reed, and Tiffany Stratton defends the United States Championship against Kiana James next Friday, and that will be the go home the night before Backlash. So we're about to start running into the week, the go home shows for WWE Backlash, the first PLE of May. Out of 3. There will be 3 PLEs in May. So I'm going to go ahead and go to the outro and tell you guys where you can find me on my socials and what I have coming up for the rest of this weekend and next week for you guys.
Wrestling has more than one royal family.
There are a lot of podcasts out there, but only one with this kind of energy.
Welcome to EVP Show Recaps Prediction Sports. Let go, show recaps prediction sports
In one podcast.
Welcome to EVP Show Recaps Prediction Sports. Let go.
All right. Once again, thank you guys for tuning in to the SmackDown recap show. We have one Raw and one SmackDown left before WWE Backlash. I'm kind of went over the card with you guys. We have 4 fully matches, and then Danhausen has to find a mystery partner to go up against Miz and Kit Wilson. The first hour will be live on ESPN. And next Friday, we will see Tiffany Stratton defend the United States title against Kiana James. We're having a funeral for the Gingerbread Man. We're going to see Rhea Ripley, Charlotte Flair, and Alexa Bliss against Fatal Influence, which I really think should have been part of the Backlash card. And then Gunther will be there to explain his actions. Obviously, it was a pivot. It has to be, because there's no Randy Orton. And I just don't feel like they would have kept Randy off of TV when Randy stood tall at the end of WrestleMania. So, it had to have been some sort of pivot. So we'll see where they're going with this Gunther thing with Cody. But yeah, that match can definitely cook. So, but thank you guys for tuning in. We almost got to 100 views. Make sure if you guys go back and watch this live on YouTube, make sure that you guys hit that like button. For me, it helps my stream out, helps the algorithm and stuff like that. So, far as my socials, it's scrolling across in the pretty blue down there at the bottom. But all my links are in my bios. If you follow me on any of my socials, my YouTube link is pinned to all of my social media platforms. Obviously, I stated this last night on the TNA recap show. If you guys tuned in, my ultimate goal is to try to get to 300 subscribers by SummerSlam. So I think I'm at 221. So, like I said, if you guys know people, you mind retweeting the link. It's pinned at the top of my X page. If you're looking for me on X and you're not already following me, just type in at EVP2JP and you can find me on X. And like I said, my YouTube page is the first thing at the very top. It is pinned at the top. It has like 120 something thousand views on it. It's been up there for a while. Ever since I started it, I believe. So, but yeah. So yeah, give me a follow on X, obviously. Everybody from DWE TV, make sure you follow that page now, because I am live on DWE TV's X page as well. It was Talking Up Podcast. They're still Talking Up Podcast, DWE Radio, all that. But this is just for X, for all the shows and stuff to be advertised, and some of the shows will be streamed. Most of the shows will be streamed on here as well. If you're looking for me on Instagram, it's a business account. You can find me on Instagram at EVPCJP in lowercase. On TikTok, same thing, just a lot of promotion videos. Thanks to Miami and Greg. You can find me at Brady the Goat 21. Again, that's at Brady DA Goat 21. Last but not least, like I said, please like and subscribe to my YouTube channel. If you're not already subscribed, please hit that subscribe button. If you are, hit the notification bell and you will know when I go live. If you're not subscribing, if you're looking for my channel, just go up to the search bar and type in at the EVP show. Obviously, you can see it on DWE TV up in the bio as well. And all the bios I have on all my social media platforms. So thank you guys so much. Like I said, special shout out to all you guys for this past Sunday. The LFG season 3 episode 1 recap did tap out close to 115 views on YouTube. So I definitely appreciate you guys for that. So yeah, if you're looking for my YouTube channel, just type in at the EVP show in the search bar and it will come up. I believe this is my 907th or 8th, maybe 909th live video. There's a ton of shorts, and then there's a couple of pre-recorded videos. So a lot of content for you to watch, a lot of prediction shows, stuff like that. So please like and subscribe to my YouTube channel. So what I have coming up tomorrow, Saturday, which is already Saturday on the East Coast, which I'm not on the East Coast anymore. I'm still getting readjusted to Central Standard Time. But yeah, tomorrow I am off. So I will not be streaming, but come back and join me Sunday for the second time of Doubleheader Sunday here on the EVP show. Come join me at 6 p.m. Eastern for Sunday Night Scoops with the EVP, episode number 19, 6 p.m. Eastern. And then come back and join me later on that night at 11:30 p.m. Eastern for LFG Season 3, episode number 2. That will be at 11:30 p.m. Eastern live here on Sunday night on the EVP show. So doubleheader Sunday, the second week that I will be running a doubleheader on Sunday. And then next week is a 7-day week here on the EVP show. Catch me Monday night at 11 p.m. Eastern for the Go Home Raw. It's the Go Home Raw before Backlash, 11 p.m. Eastern Monday night for the Raw recap show. So Saul Ruka signs her WWE Raw contract. And then Tuesday, come back and join me at 10:30 p.m. Eastern live for your NXT recap show. And then it is the big one Wednesday, which I don't have the full card, unfortunately. I wish I did, but we're going to make the best of it with what we have. But tune in Wednesday at 7 p.m. Eastern. I have 9 other people joining me on the panel and also one in the comments. Wednesday, 7 p.m. Eastern, we will be doing the WWE Backlash prediction show. So hit the notification bell and come join us for that. And then Thursday night at 11:30 p.m. Eastern time, come back and join me for the TNA recap show. And then next Friday night, I've already told you what all the matches are. It is the Go Home show the night before WWE Backlash. Come back and join me at 11:30 p.m. Eastern time for your SmackDown recap show. And then Saturday, when WWE Backlash goes off the air, it will either be at 10:15 or 10:30 p.m. Eastern. Come join me here on the EVP show Saturday for the WWE Backlash recap show. That will be Saturday after the post show goes off. Saturday after WWE Backlash, the WWE Backlash recap show. And then come back next Sunday for the 3rd week of Doubleheader Sunday, starting off at 6 p.m. Eastern with Sunday Night Scoots with the EVP, episode number 20. 20 episodes in. Unbelievable. And then come back later on that night at 11:30 p.m. Eastern time for LFG Season 3, episode number 3. With that being said, guys, that is it for me for the SmackDown recap live here on the EVP show, May 1st, 2026. Hopefully you guys enjoy you guys this Saturday, and you guys come back and join me twice Sunday for Doubleheader Sunday. First, starting off at 6 p.m. Eastern with Sunday Night Scoots with the EVP at 6 p.m. Eastern, and then come back later Sunday night and join me for LFG Season 3, episode number 2 recap show. That is Sunday. So I will see you guys twice Sunday. With that being said, hopefully you guys enjoy the rest of your Friday night and enjoy your Saturday, and I will see you guys for Doubleheader Sunday at 6 p.m. and at 11:30 p.m. Eastern Sunday. I am the EVP from the EVP show and the golden boy of DWE, and DWE is the place to be. Good night, everyone, and I will see you guys. Enjoy your Saturday. Tune in to DWE Radio tomorrow. I believe they'll be live. I'll see you guys Sunday, like I said, starting off 6 p.m. Eastern with Sunday Night Scoops, and then back at 11:30 p.m. Eastern for LFG Season 3, Episode 2 recap show. Good night, everyone.